Hey folks, Quick Danger, vinyl record player. Oh, back one more time. We're going to be doing five must-have summer records. Actually, we've got a couple of bonus ones here for the blazing hot summer. Something to really kind of vibe to in the midst of, I'm sure, wherever you are. It is a scorching one. So you know what? Grab yourself a cold beverage, maybe flip on a fan, and hey, buckle up. Alright, and we're back. Middle of summer here. Just thought I'd kind of change it up a little bit and do 5 must-have summer records. And again, we do have a couple of bonus picks in here because I just was like, you know what? It's summer. Are there rules? No. Except that, try to wear less clothes, people, because it's hot. Let's start out with, how about a little bit of Credence? A little bit of Green River from 1969. I know, it's a bit of a cheat. Kind of from the 70s, but not really. Obviously, this is known kind of as one of Credence's best albums. This is their 3rd LP, their 2nd to be released in 1969, and in that year they released 3 LPs, which is like, what are you guys crazy? I mean, around that era, of course, if you know, mostly there were a lot of bands that would record 2 albums a year at least. Credence just like, no, we're Credence, this is what we do. I was reading a little bit up on them, and I guess, they were also from San Francisco. It's funny because a lot of people think that they were a southern band, that they were from Louisiana. They do, bayou country and Born on the Bayou, all this stuff. No, just, it was just John Fogerty, basically from around the San Francisco area, and basically, kind of found a sound that he liked to work with. At the time, of course, a lot of psychedelic, a lot of jammy bands going on. Credence kind of saw themselves as more of a disciplined band. They wanted to, put out their music, and like John Fogerty was saying, he didn't like the 25-minute solos. He felt like the music could send its message a little bit quicker than that. And basically created the Credence sound, which is fantastic. Obviously, everyone in the world knows Credence. If ever you've listened to any rock radio, oldies radio, you know about them. Little surprise thing about Credence, they basically only had about 2 or 3 years of a career where they just pounded out album after album after album. And ended up making a terrible deal with their manager / their label, and and they ended up in court basically forever. But Green River, obviously, man, a lot of great tracks on this one. Obviously, you've got Green River. Another classic, one that always reminds me of summer. Usually play this when I'm out going up to Shasta, California, Lake Shasta. We like to hear a little bit of Lodi, stuck in an old Lodi again. Of course, now Lodi is a little bit of a nicer place. A lot of wines coming out of that particular area. But funny thing, obviously, also Green River, which apparently it was not about the Green River, but was about actually a creek near Winters, California. I gotta be real, I don't know where Winters, California is, but wow. Great album. This, I think, is basically, this was somewhere in sort of the top 100-ish for Rolling Stone's 500 best albums ever, and it is a good one. You know what? This is the thing with me, is that recently I picked up this album. In fact, I picked this up, Pendulum, and I think I have Bayou Country too. The interesting part was, I just always have been a greatest hits guy. And wow, their albums are really good. There's not a lot of them. There's maybe 5 or 6, except for that last one, where obviously John Fogerty says, Stu Cook and Doug Clifford, you guys want to write some songs? Let's do it. And it turned out they were terrible. Turned out John was really the guy, and the other guys were not the guy. So it is what it is. But at any rate, this is a great album. But you know what? What I also kind of recognized is that, not everyone has the albums. What you might want to be looking for is something like this. This, of course, is more Credence gold. But I just read an article today talking about how basically somehow Credence's Chronicle, which is basically like Credence Gold, or basically like a more significant version of a greatest hits, man, this album continues to chart like now. Like it's in the top 50 like all the time, which kind of shocked me. I'm like, what? But apparently it's been in the top 50, top 100 of the Billboard album charts for literally like, I don't know, a decade. And it just kind of continues to come back and forth, owing really to the immense quality of the music. Obviously, Credence never got any number ones, but they just have a stack of number twos, which is bizarre. We're talking about like 7 or 8 number 2 singles, and then of course all over. But I mean, everyone knows Credence, but ooh, what a great summer band. Out at the lake, out at the pool, jamming, beers are being consumed. Oh, it's fantastic. You can't really beat Credence. Either, of course, Green River. And again, I'm a new follower, a new buyer of the albums, and the albums are good. I got this probably for under 10, and this one goes back. I've had this for a long, long time. More Credence Gold, but yeah, Credence Gold, more Credence Gold, Chronicle. There's a lot of really great compilations, and you know what? But yeah, let me tell you, they're deep cuts. They're deep and very summery. So Credence, almost anything, let's be honest. They didn't, except for that last album. I want to avoid that last album. But otherwise, yeah, we're talking about Credence Clearwater Revival, of course, a seminal summer band with basically everything's a must-have, except for that last album. Can't overstate that. The last album, apparently, is a turd. And actually, to be honest, I've heard it, and it is really bad. It's just like, oh, where's John? John wrote 1 or 2 songs on it. Otherwise, nah. And again, just want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing. Makes a huge, huge difference. Believe me. I mean, I got some videos where the likes are low and then the views are low. Anyway, you get the point. I appreciate everybody who sticks around and watches the videos. It's fantastic stuff. We always have great dialogue in the comments. So I would say to you this. If there are any must-have summer records that you can think of, please put them in the comments. Love to hear some of those albums. Discovering a lot of cool stuff from, obviously, the cool audience that is currently viewing Craig Danger, the vinyl record player. But again, thanks to everyone for liking and subscribing. And yeah, just keep being you. Another one. Don't mention this one very often. How about Heatwave's Too Hot to Handle? Little boogie nights on this one. But you know what? This one is really good. Too Hot to Handle, obviously the title track. Ain't No Half Steppin', Always and Forever. Anyway, I just listened to this one the other day. This is one of those ones that I kind of picked up. I think I probably picked it up in the $5 bin. Basically a funk disco band. But you know what? On this album anyway, I would lean more towards funk. Certainly, again, I have not been shy about my dislike of some of the sameness of disco, particularly in the later era of disco. But you know what? These guys are real unique. Actually, a very international band. They basically kind of set up in England, a couple of American servicemen, plus a Swiss guy, plus a guy from Czech, plus a guy from Jamaica. Super international band, plus some British dudes. They basically set up a funk band and record a bunch of this, a bunch of hits. Obviously, Boogie Nights was giant on both sides of the border of the ocean. But obviously, this is basically like a party album. I would not declare this as full disco. I consider this more of a funk album, to be fair. But yeah, Heatwave, this is a band I really didn't kind of get into until very late. But like I say, I just heard this album the other day and yeah, impressive. Very much a summer record, very much a party record. You can slap this dog on and, I mean, you know people be getting down. Like, even your least funky uncle is suddenly, I mean, I'm just saying, there could be a groove line occurring. Groove line, obviously. Also Heatwave, that would be on their next album. But again, this is more than just Boogie Nights, friends. This is a pretty hot summer album. Like I say, very funky in places, a little disco-y in others, but you know what, I would consider this, again, more of an international funk band who actually had quite a bit of success, kind of continued on throughout the 70s. But Heatwave, a little Too Hot to Handle, not much on the back here, but yeah, this of course is the American copy on, of course, the Epic label. So yeah, really fun stuff. It's a bit of a party, this one. Released in 77, charted really well. Was about top 20 at least. But anyway, Heatwave, Too Hot to Handle. Not your average disco album. Definitely a summer record though. and I would call it a must-have, dare I say it. Heatwave, Too Hot to Handle from 77, another must-have for the summer of, this one's 2024. Well, yeah, I gotta go back to this old school classic. I mean, nothing says summer like the Rascals, friends. Oh, and this is actually the Rascals' biggest selling album ever. This, of course, most of the songs on this is a compilation, okay? But this is highly available. The only issue I would say in terms of getting it on vinyl is that, frankly, a lot of rough copies, because when people bought this record, they played it to death. And, for good reason. I mean, this is basically the start of their career from 65 until about 68. Only downside on this one is they don't include their sole #1 hit, which, of course, was People Got to Be Free. Ooh, fantastic song, which, by the way, little tidbit, People Got to Be Free was #1. What was #2 that week? How about Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf? The Rascals stopping the juggernaut of Steppenwolf with Born to Be Wild. They only went to #2, but People Got to Be Free. Again, not on this record. Wow. But anyway, this is excellent from cover to cover. You got the early hits like Good Lovin'. You got Ain't Gonna Eat Out My Heart Anymore. Then, really the second side kind of really throws an absolute funky summertime bomb into the mix. Starting out with, of course, Lonely Too Long. Ooh. I think that's their best track, honestly. But then you got Groovin', you got It's Wonderful, A Girl Like You. I mean, this album is banger after banger. Unfortunately, this also would kind of signal what would become really the climax of the Rascals' career. After that, like I say, they did have the Freedom Suite, which had People Got to Be Free. But from People Got to Be Free on, it just was lower and lower chart positions. Oddly enough, they kept charting in Canada. Funky country that Canada is. Love that country. I'm from that country. I mean, I can't hate on it. I can't hate on a country that loves the Rascals. But anyway, by 72, these guys were basically up and done. They put out a couple of albums that were a little bit more funk. They had some squabbles between the members. I believe one of them, Felix Cavalieri, kind of moved on, and they were just kind of after Freedom Suite, they did not really have much success, and it is unfortunate. I am still getting into their albums, but this one I've probably had since the 1990s. Really good. This is a Canadian press. You can see the little maple leaf there in the corner. But love this record. One of my favorites on the Atlantic label. Great summer record. I mean, Groovin', come on. Is there a better summer tune? I'm not sure there is. But again, Timepiece by the Rascals, their greatest hits from 1968. And of course, they probably repressed this a million times. What's next, you say? Well, if it's summer, my friends, we want to be talking about the reggae. I mean, I would say this, like, if you are a person who doesn't like reggae, check this out. This could change your whole jam. Admittedly, I'm not a lover of reggae past, let's just say 1980, but this is the original cooker, in my opinion. Actually, I just discovered, is in the Library of Congress as a historically and culturally significant record. And way to get it right, Mr. Library of Congress. This album, and I've said it before, easily the best reggae original soundtrack ever released. Easily, absolute bangers, cover to cover. 67 to 72, kind of collects a lot of singles from that era. Obviously, Jimmy Cliff, great stuff from him on this. But you got Toots and the Maytals. You got Johnny Too Bad from Slickers, which is one of my favorite reggae songs ever. A gentleman named Scotty. Desmond Decker's on this one. Like I say, in terms of a reggae compilation, it gets no better than this. This was released on the Mango label, actually, in the United States in 73, released in Britain on Ireland in 72. But even if you're not a reggae fan, I would recommend you take a listen to this old school business. Because wow, like I say, I'm not a big reggae guy, but anything 70s, I'm still kind of dipping my toes in, but almost anything 60s and 70s in terms of reggae and ska, fantastic old school sounds. Leslie Kong, of course, is the producer, mostly for Jimmy Cliff. And yeah, this album is an absolute cover-to-cover reggae classic. Nothing but these summertime vibes right here, friends. Woo! Fantastic. But you know what? If you don't want to get that one, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and big up Wonderful World, Beautiful People. This, of course, is the U.S. Release of, I believe it's 69's Jimmy Cliff, which probably would have been released in Britain around there. It took until 71 for him to release this in the United States. But Wonderful World, Beautiful People. This is a Jimmy Cliff alone, but again, oh, outstanding. I mean, you got Many Rivers to Cross. Come on with Many Rivers to Cross. A little bit solemn of a jam, maybe not a summary, but then you got Time Will Tell, Wonderful World, Beautiful People. Again, another fantastic summer record. It's a bonus for y'all if you have not heard Jimmy Cliff's Wonderful World, Beautiful People, or Jimmy Cliff. This is an absolute something you should get. I picked this one up for 15, but to be honest, I have not seen it around a lot. And this is in great condition too, like the cover on this. This is probably like an 80s repress, but wow. Beautiful album. And also, again, amazing songs. Jimmy Cliff, certainly those first couple albums, in my opinion, are absolutely legendary. And yeah, great summertime business from a reggae master, Jimmy Cliff. And of course, I mean, just to reiterate, do not sleep on, of course, the soundtrack to The Harder They Come, which is like an amazing reggae compilation. The ultimate in the summer, as probably no one would say, and they would be like, "Hey, Craig, what's with that terrible accent, bro? What are you doing there, Craig Danger? What are you doing?" Again, I mean it only in love for the islands. But let's finish off this fantastic summer video. We're talking about, of course, Must Have Summer records from the 70s. From the 70s. Well, you know, I mean, obviously we're going to have to whip this one out. Because as I've said before, you know what? Everybody needs a little beaver in their life. As this record obviously denotes. This is 74's Party Down. Woo, woo. Really kind of like some excellent grooves on this one. Obviously, Willie Hale is the little beaver. I mean, this guitar he's not big because the guitar is bigger than the little beaver. But you know what? Ooh, hot licks all over this. It's a funky record. Obviously, the title tracks, parts 1, and what? Part 2. Because if you're partying down, you're not going to do a part 1. You need a part 2. And yeah, fantastic. Obviously, welcome. Get Into the Party Life is another one. Again, it's a party record, friends. Ultimate summer, a lot of sort of Latin vibes, but again, very funky. Willie Hale, the riff master behind such classics as obviously Rockin' Chair. I believe he played on Rockin' Chair by Gwen McCrae. I believe he also played on, I know he played on Cleanup Woman by Betty Wright. Woo! The guy knows a riff, and obviously Party Down. I can dig it, baby. Let's stick it. Let the good times roll. Anyway, not much. He's not the best vocalist you've ever heard, is Little Beaver. But you know what? Wow, a funky man, and this record just kind of works for him. He just is. He's like that dude at the party who's just funky. He's laying it down. You're like, I like the Little Beaver. Can I get some Little Beaver? That's apparently what people were saying. Final kind of note on this. This is of course on the Cat label, which is a classic Miami soul label. He actually did a lot of session work for Cat. Throughout the 70s until they basically went out of business in the early 80s. But yeah, this album also, see the gentleman in there, looking good. He actually also, on this album, for the jazz heads out there, little Jaco Pastorius is playing bass on this groove. I had no idea. But if you thought Jaco couldn't get funky, you haven't had a Little Beaver Party Down lately. But again, a classic, great summer record. This one you're not going to get an original copy of. This one did not sell very much. The title track, of course, did go to number 2 on the R&B charts. But yeah, finding an original copy of this is, I mean, good luck. But I did get a re-release on this I believe it's on Real Gone Records. But so you'll probably be ponying up about $30 or $40 US for this one. But oh, funky record. Throw it on and ooh, things will get crazy. Particularly if it's the hot and brutal summer that we've basically made for ourselves here on this planet. So again, like, subscribe, that really helps, as I've noted before. And again, I hope you enjoyed the 5 must-have 1970s summer record video. Enjoyed making it. Again, it's really hot. I was gonna film this video yesterday. Couldn't do it because it was too damn hot, even here in San Diego, California, which again, that doesn't happen all the time, friends. But again, thank you for tuning in, and I am going to have to see you on the next one.